So let's talk about everyone's favorite side boob in One Piece. Yamato! I love me some Yamato. Yes, I do, and I know you do too. If you don't, stop lying. Stop lying. How could you not? Oh, because I guess you're not a man of culture.
Not cool. Totally lame.
Because me and the men of culture, we're big fans. Especially Oda himself actually drew it and got a lot of recommendations to draw, so that side boob is powerful. But let's talk about Yamato in another powerful way, okay? Outside of her assets, absolutely. Yamato, is she too powerful? Is Yamato too powerful for the Straw Hat crew? In the last chapter of One Piece 1016, we know now that Yamato was going to fight Kaido for an extended amount of time, one-on-one, her and her father, which is a big deal considering how her daddy is Kaido. Yamato is going to hold him back for an extended amount of time while he's in hybrid form. On paper, his strongest state. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. And on top of that, he says, I'm not going to hold back. And finally, at the end of the chapter, we have that, let's call it a clash between Yamato and Kaido, where we see the jettisoning black lightning effects. And we see how Kaido put before he clashed with his daughter, Conqueror's Haki on his club. So some folks are saying that Yamato actually put Conqueror's Haki on her club, the same way Roger and Whitebeard did it, the same way Kaido has done it, the same way Big Mom and Luffy have done it. Yamato imbued her club with Conqueror's Haki and clashed with her father. These are big statements, because when you can imbue your attacks with Conqueror's Haki, it looks like your attack potency just skyrockets. Yamato doing that, potentially, against her dad, and then stalling out her dad, when he's saying, I'm not gonna hold back at all, in hybrid form, these are big, big claims for her power. When it comes to Conqueror's Haki stuff with Yamato, it's not confirmed, not even the slightest. There's a chance that's the case, but at this point in time, we have seen in the past people not imbue their attacks with Conqueror's Haki and still make the giant lightning effects, like with Don Chinjan Luffy in the past, like with the Flamingo and Luffy in the past. Or it could even be the case where she has very powerful armament Haki to where it can replicate that. So there's options there. I just need full-on confirmation that she has in fact Conqueror's Haki. Yeah, she is Odin, quote, and Odin did have Conqueror's Haki, but I'm not gonna make that Herculean jump just yet. But if she does, let's talk about that possibility. If Yamato has Conqueror's Haki imbued to her attacks, very similar to Luffy, Kyla, Big Mom, and so on and so forth, then if she were to join the crew, there's a possibility that she's going to be the second strongest in the crew after Luffy, which is a really big statement. But we haven't seen her power in this arc, and so far it's been relatively impressive, obviously. Just like Luffy in Gear 4 Bowman and Drake, she did one-shot a number, Hacha, using a range attack called the Nari Kabura, which seemed like a very cool, very impressive attack. And I think, or at least I thought, that it was an air attack, where she coated her club with armor Haki, so much so, and swung with so much force, that the air at the apex of the swing made a air cannon of sorts. And that air cannon blasted Hacha in the face, in the chin. But maybe instead of that, it was pure Haki all the way through, where she projected her Haki outwards, which would be a very, I think, unique thing to do. Just pure Haki, no air at all, just pure Haki, like an energy Haki wave, like a ki blast of some kind. She fired it out there, and then that's what that was. And if that's the case, then the argument for her actually having the Conqueror's Haki imbued into her attacks, then that kind of bolsters that a bit. Yes, it does. At least I would argue. So whether it's an air cannon or whether it's an energy beam of some kind, the end result here obviously would still be her one-shotting a number giant. Also, she did one-shot ulti, obviously. That was a sneak attack, mind you, so ulti had no time to prep for that, duh. But nonetheless, she did knock out ulti for a period of time with a Thunder Bago, a Rame Hake. Next, we do know for a fact that she does have a Duffy power. This is actually, I think, even more important than the Kankasaki stuff. So she's been as powerful as she is without showing at all her Durfu power. That's very impressive. It reminds me a lot of Douglas Bullet in the Stampede film, where the guy was so studly, he was so gross in terms of what he could do combat-wise against Supernova, and then when he has his Durfu power and the Awakening, it's like, oh no, ew! Like, it was... So again, the fact that Yamato is this good so far, and she has not yet shown her Durfu power, that scares me.
I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
And then finally, she fought against, obviously, Luffy in Gear 2 and Gear 3 for a period of time. Mind you, was he using real haki, armor haki? I have no idea, probably not. But nonetheless, at Gear 2 and Gear 3 Luffy. That's impressive. So Yamato has been impressive so far in this arc in terms of combat skills. Though there are some things you can say are more of, not necessarily the downside, but not as impressive. Like they kind of like mitigate her power a bit. Where when Ulti returns, her and Ulti fight off screen for an extended amount of time, which would imply that neither Ulti or Yamato could get the better of each other in that fight against one another. And then we know that she fought against Ace in the flashback way back when. And keeping it a buck, and it's not really fair because it's a pre-time skip, Ace I don't think is all that strong in the grand scheme of things. Like Sabo is significantly stronger than Ace. And the main thing here is because of obviously hockey. Again, it's not really fair. It's not. But I go by what we know. And Ace, for me, is not all that big whoop-de-doo. Just keeping it a buck. So there are things like that exist, where they kind of damper, you can say, her power compared to the other things where they're pretty damn good for her power. Absolutely. So based on all this Yamato greatness, outside of her side boob, what can we say about her power compared to who I think are the top 3 in the crew after Luffy, which would be Jinbei, Sanji, and Zoro? I'll say like this first of all. I think that Kaido is going to hold back against Yamato.
What?
I know he said, I know he said that he's not going to. But I think during the Yamato and Kaido fight, as she's trying to stall him, we will get at some point a Kaido flashback. Kaido knows so damn much about Joy Boy, about the importance of Wano Country. He seems to know a lot of things that we would only assume folks that have poneglyph knowledge and then some would know. But Kaido knows. Kaido knows. And I think in part it's because of the journal. Now there'll be a full-on video in the future about this in greater detail, but I think the Kaido flashback will be initiated at some point during that fight with Yamato, and or Momonosuke coming up there in dragon form. I think that at some point it has to happen. Kaido has to see Momonosuke in dragon form, and that may trigger a flashback of some kind. At some junction, some way, somehow, it has to go down. A Kaido flashback. That's the first thing. The second thing is, that's his daughter. And yes, I get it. He said, I'm not gonna... But...
Why did you make me do this?
Kyla has a soft spot. He does. He needs Yamato, number 1, because she has to run Wano Country in his stead. Number 2 is, when you think about Kaido, and him giving a chance for Momonosuke to survive his execution. But Momonosuke defied Kaido and said, no, I am the son of Kozuki Yoden, and started crying and so on. Kaido was in his club, kind of pondering and hesitating about, do I have to really kill this kid? I think Kaido's a soft spot. I think he does. So whether or not we actually see him go all out against his daughter, I have my doubts. I absolutely do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do. I could be wrong, of course, but I have my doubts. But going back to Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei, I would argue that if she is stronger than them, knowing that she has a full-on Durfu power scheme that we have not seen yet, and in this case, potentially, she's imbuing her attacks with Conqueror's Haki, then she's stronger than Zoro, she's stronger than Sanji, and she's stronger than Jinbei for the time being, meaning at this point in time right now. Because during their fights, we're gonna see Sanji and Jinbei go all out for the first time. We've already seen Zoro go all out for the first time in a very, very, very long time, and it was glorious. We have not seen Jinbei at full power going all out. We have no idea how many more Ogis that Jinbei has at his disposal, and plus Jinbei is not in the water. Keep it in the buck. In the water, Jinbei's kind of nasty. He's actually really, really freaking nasty. And mind you too, this is the guy that can actually block Big Mom's cognac attack. Albeit, I'd argue, a nerd Big Mom, but still block the attack nonetheless. Jinbei's kind of nutty. And then Sanji has a cornucopia, a list of abilities that he's gotten with the raid suit that we haven't seen to full prominence, like not even close to full prominence. But it's already showcased some of the best speed and durability feats in the verse, and at this point in time, with the observation haki, may have something even more so than Luffy even after the Katakuri stuff. Albeit, folks can say it's a gag, but it's real, and you just can't ignore that gag. So there's so much in store for Sanji and Jinbei in the near future, where we're gonna see them at max power, and then also probably them get stronger as well during their fights against Who's Who, Queen, and so on and so forth. And then Zoro is gonna get stronger as well, I'd argue, because the Nidai Kitetsu! Please. He's getting at some point in this arc. Listen, if he doesn't, Oda, I'm flying to Japan. All right, Olympics or not, I'm coming. I'm coming, baby. Come on. The Nidai Kitetsu is there. When Zoro gets that sword, there'll be another buff for Zoro. And whether or not he has the Conqueror's Haki and boom into his attacks or not, it's still up in the air, obviously. However, the Black Blade stuff is not. Because come EOS, I think Zoro should have at least 3 Black Blades. No, he should. Zoro, I think, will have 3 Black Blades. All of them will be upgraded to the Saijo, the Supreme Grade Blade status, via the Black Blade transformation. And I think there could be something later on this arc that could lead to a Black Blade for Zoro, which would be another power-up. So Zoro has room to grow, especially if Chopper can heal Zoro, and then Zoro rejoins the fight. So there are options there for Zoro, for Sanji, and for Jinbei during the rest of this arc. So if Yamato is stronger than them, I would say it's at this point in time for the time being. And then come the end of this arc, Jinbei, Sanji, and Zoro, they will show new things, they will gain new powers, and so on, that will push them over Yamato. So right now, that's how I see it at this point in time. We'll have to wait and see how things roll out with Yamato, obviously. Again, we're assuming a few things based on their power at this point in time. We're assuming a lot of different things. And I still want that white tiger. Yamato, please. I still want me that white tiger. Yes, I do. And I know some folks, oh, King, well, the furries, man. I'll take the hit. Okay? Transforming into something that has some fur is very different than having fur from the jump. That's just very, very, very different. So, let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. Be sure to rate the video. Not that hard to do. So on that note, guys and gals, let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. Rate the video, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Take care. Have a nice one.